Hello, welcome back to FF12. I'm playing this and 15 at the same time, so I keep getting confused about what does what in what game. Anyway, I asked you guys to leave comments and you left quite a lot of them. I also said I would pick this one randomly, and then for some of the future ones we would do more of a poll system, so do bear that in mind. But this one, there's quite a variety. Most of you picked Bushi and Shikari. Shikari? Shikari? I'll go Shikari. Which is Ninja and Samurai. Most of you picked that. A couple of you picked Monk, and a couple of you picked Time Mage. I ran it through a random selector thingamadinger. And it ended up on Bushi, which makes sense because it's one of the more picked ones, so... Obviously, the more people that pick something, the more likely it is to get randomly chosen for Vaughn, but for future ones, I will be doing an actual poll, so in those videos I will mention it, I will put a link in the description, and I will ask that you click on, well, I can actually do a poll with cards now, I think. So I can do it straight in the video. I'll look into it, and then we'll sort it out when we get there. But this randomly picked Bushi. I could show you the setup I went to, but it's just a site that you put in stuff and it will randomly pick something for you, but we got Bushi, so we're gonna roll Bushi. Apparently, according to, let me actually find the comment real quick. According to Zodiac M, thank you very much, by the way, you can access your second job on the license board once you have your first Esper, so that is when, oh, I didn't mean to close that. Whoops-a-daisy, just closed everything. Anyway, that is apparently when we will get access to our second job, so we can look into that. But anyway, for now, Vaughn is a Bushi, always known as a samurai. So he has access to katanas and not much else, really. He gets a bunch of battle lores, but unfortunately they're all the way down there. Also gets access to, very quickly, a bunch of HP upgrades, so he can serve as a pseudo-tank relatively early on in the game. Also gets access to Inquisitor fairly early, but you might notice, despite the fact it gets access to Inquisitor, doesn't get access to really much of anything that uses MP, so, you know. Anyway, this is what his board layout more or less looks like. Now, samurai are liked very much because of sight unseeing. So we may try and get that relatively quickly. Unfortunately, we have to go through a lot of stuff to get to it. But the reason it's liked so much is because you can forcibly blind your samurai and have them just continuously use sight unseeing instead of a normal attack. So we'll get into that when we actually get there. But anyway, this is what we got. We may as well learn this because it'll allow us to equip the accessory that we have been given. Via this fancy equip menu. This just gives us HP, yeah. And 1 defense and 1 magic resist. Anyway, we have our first job. One of many that we will have in the course of this game. Let us continue with the story, which, if I'm not mistaken, we left off needing to go to the Dalmeska Ester Sand to fight our first hunt. Someone else asked if I'm gonna go do bosses and stuff that I missed before. The answer is yes. And hunts and everything. We're gonna go for Platinum Trophy in this playthrough. I know I've said that before, and I never actually did it. Just hold me on my word and just like shout at me constantly if you feel like it, but we're gonna do it. Start to finish, everything. It's gonna be a long playlist. That's not the button I meant to hit. It's also not the button I meant to hit. Why does FF15 have to have a different control layout, man? Anyway. While we wander around this zone, we are going to utilize the much faster speed mode because none of these enemies are dangerous. And I've been here 8 trillion times, so we're gonna simplify it for my own sanity's purposes. That is our hunt mark in the background over there, a little red-headed tomato-looking thing wandering around in the back. See him over there. Hunt marks, and show them on the minimap, show up as a slightly larger red dot on the minimap, so it's fairly obvious where they are, even if you're not looking directly at them, so. We're gonna continue wandering around for now, killing these random enemies. I should mention, enemies with a red health bar are hostile enemies. Enemies with this color health bar, this kind of yellowish green one, are neutral enemies. In some cases, they will also assist you in combat, which I think only happens in one area, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we won't always be running at 4 times multiplier when I'm doing stuff like wandering around zones like this, but it is a thing that will be occurring occasionally. That is also a thing that occurs. Unfortunately, it occurred on the one I was fighting. The wild saurian in the zone, don't hit it by the way, the red name should hint at that. It starts at like level 36. It is passive, it will not fight anything until attacked. It does, however, have an ability called Cannibalize that it will use somewhat randomly. I don't think it has any sort of system for using it, but it'll use it sporadically and it will eat a nearby wolf if available, such as the one I was fighting that it consumed, and it will then level up off of eating said wolf, which means it can theoretically eventually hit level 99 in the first zone you go to in the game. So don't hit it, it'll murder you. Very, very, very rapidly. Also, do not steal from it because that causes it to go hostile and it will then, as you probably guessed, very, very rapidly murder you. There is a power leveling area thing that you can do in the Ester Sand. It is a couple of zones over. It's like over here-ish, give or take, something around that area. It's a couple zones over. There is a rare enemy spawn in that location, which is like a ghost type enemy. And because it is a ghost type enemy, you can throw a phoenix down at it, which will instantaneously kill it. And because it has a chance of spawning directly next to the zone transition, you can throw a phoenix down at it, kill it, which instantly gives you the experience. And then zone transition before his corpse disappears. And that will cause him to respawn when you come back into the zone because he's not counted as dead until his body disappears. Same with this wolf, for instance. So let's murder this wolf eventually. There we go. So you see he falls over and then he fades, but it gives you that experience before he fades out. So as long as you leave the zone before the rare enemy disappears, you can then zone back in, murder said rare enemy again, and repeat the process until you run out of Phoenix Downs. And that is the means of power leveling, and you can do it solo as Vaughn, and very, very, very quickly get up to like level 30 plus if you desire to go that long. So, these are cockatrices, by the way. We'll see more of them later. They're very strange, bizarre things. They do roly-poly stuff, which is kind of adorable, but you know. Another thing I should mention, treasure chests, such as this one, will not always spawn. They will also not always have the same loot. They will, however, respawn if you enter... this is the old rules. I think they changed it, but I'm not 100% certain. So the old rule was you had to go, I think three zones away, 2 or 3 zones, I can't remember exactly. But I think they changed it so you just had to go to the next zone over. And it would refresh all the treasure chests. Basically in this game, treasure chests have a % chance to spawn, and then they have a normal loot drop and a rare loot drop, which both have corresponding percentages on what they will drop. There is an item that increases the chance to get the rare loot, however it causes all other loot, if you do not get the rare loot, to become a knot of rust, which is for all intents and purposes entirely worthless. By the way, this is the hunt. You can, upon immediately leaving Dalmasca's city, you can immediately fight the hunt. It's super easy. There is 0 risk of imminent death. It doesn't even do anything. Once it jumps down, the T-Rex just cannibalized a wolf. Once it jumps down, it will use flame breath, whereas before it just attacked you repeatedly. But again, not dangerous at all to our ability to survive out here. And there you go. Rogue Tomato vanquished. It's not tomato, it's tomato. You fool.
Galbana lilies? Never thought I'd see him growing out here. Ugh. This'll make a nice souvenir. Time to call it a day.
We will learn the significance of these Galbana lilies shortly. Well, not really shortly, but... God dang it, man, the controls. One of these days I'll figure it out. We drop this down to 2 again. For our general purpose traversing. Most of the time, unless you're grinding levels, you'll probably want to leave the multiplier on 2, because ×4 makes it relatively, unless you're used to it, which I am, it makes it relatively difficult to walk around, especially if you don't know the areas and stuff like that. So it also makes it difficult to, you know, tell what the hell is going on the screen. So I won't be using ×4 very much while recording.
Stand back there. Back! This gate's closed until the ceremony's over, do you hear?
Now what?
Open
These
the
are
gate.
gorgeous chocobos, by the way,
All right, out
comparatively
the way.
speaking.
Wait a second. How come you let these chocobos through the gate and not us?
What of it? This here's a pedigreed parader, boy.
Cost tens of thousands of gil, this one did.
A prettier price than 100 of you provincials would fetch.
Keep your distance. We don't want the chocobo sticking a peasant.
What'd you say?
Step aside. Right then, move them in.
Well... that does it.
Ho ho! A fine chocobo you have there. Yes, cedar down stock if I'm not mistaken. Change the soil, change the chocobo, am I right? Yes, different soil means different bouquet too. Take a Dalmascan Barreau's wine, eh? It may lack the flavor and depth of some of your Arcadian wines, but it has a certain strength of character. It's not bad, really, once you get
Like
used
the
to
awkward
it.
shuffle.
Care for some, sirs? There's more than enough for all to cool their throats, of course.
You let these carts through and the closest gate is ordered. My mail's choked with this sand.
Don't give me a scare like that. You're lucky that ended where it did.
Right. Now's our chance to go through.
The ceremony will be starting soon. I'd best be hurrying.
Okay, well... Vaughn, wait! What is it? Vaughn!
Vaughn. Press X to Vaughn. 10 points if you get that reference. You can have any variety of point, I don't care. We don't have a point system like Get Dave. You can name your points whatever. I've always hated this dude's hairstyle. I've also always hated the hair color. And you'll understand why shortly. I'll also explain it why shortly. It's the same hair color I have. It's not necessarily the color I hate, it's just, you know, you'll see. You'll see.
We will have order. I give you your new consul, His Imperial Highness Lord Vayne Solidor, Commandant of the Arcadian Empire's Western on... Your Excellency.
People of Rabanastre, is it with hatred you look upon your consul? With hatred you look upon the Empire?
Spit on your empire! Straight back to Arcadia!
There was little point in asking. But know this, I harbor no idle hopes of frustrating that hatred. Nor shall I ask your fealty. That is the due of your fallen king, and rightly so. King Rabanastre loved his people, strove to bring you peace. His was a rule worthy of your devotion. Even now, he remains among you, protecting you. His ardor for the peace and weal of Dalmasca falters not. I would ask only that you do your king honor. Together let us embrace the peace His Majesty would surely desire. 2 years now divide us from war's bitter end, yet still its shadow looms over all, stifling the infant peace, a pall only you may cast off. Achieve but this one thing, and your hatred of me and of the Empire will grieve me not. I will stand fast. I will endure your hatred, suffer your slings and arrows. I will defend Dalmasca. Here I will pay my debt. I swear it now. Though King Rabanastre and Lady Ashe be gone, they stand ever at the side of their people. In honoring peace, you do honor to their memory and to Dalmasca. What I ask plain. My hopes now rest with you.
Is Rabanastre to your liking, my lord?
Look at his hair
It is
color.
magnificent.
Why?
Take this cathedral, for instance.
Why did they do this to me?
Elegant, yet whimsical in its execution. A stunning example of Galtean architecture. I hope Lord Gramus might one day look upon it himself.
Oh, remember the last one? We're all like this at first.
The patron of this evening's banquet, may it please your excellency.
I am Penelo, your highness. It is truly a profound honor to make the acquaintance of our future emperor, highness. The people of Rabanastre join me in welcoming you.
That's enough of highness. Though indeed I am our emperor's son, I am no prince. Arcadia's emperor is freely chosen by her people. I am but an elected official and nothing more.
I meant no disrespect.
Now that I think on it, I would not have you address me as Lord Consul, for that matter.
No?
Henceforth, I am a citizen of Rabanastre. Why don't you call me Vayne?
I could not. That would not be right.
You are overly fond of formalities. I've just the remedy for that. Tonight you will join me, and we shall drink until you call me by name.
Oh.
How can he stand about him like that?
Vaughn, you just do not get it, do you? He's not doing it because he wants to.
Lord Vayne never did.
You know what would happen if he didn't.
I know, it's just...
So, what would you do different?
I don't know. Well... I'd do something.
Vaughn. Vaughn! You haven't heard a single word I've said, have you? This place has changed so much. It's like it's not even Rabanastre anymore. Like the Empire is swallowing it whole.
Hey, Penelo, that fete tonight. You think they'll let us in?
Are you crazy? It's in the palace, and we don't have an invitation if you hadn't noticed.
So, how are we getting in?
As if I'd know. Why not ask Penelo to get you in? Or go see old Dallin in Lowtown? Why the sudden interest, Vaughn?
I told you, I'm going to take back what's ours. Give back to Dalmasca. Come on, what do you think? If I find something, and it fetches a good price, how about I buy you all dinner?
Oh, please. You know as well as I do the first thing you'd buy is an airship. All hail Vaughn, sky pirate of Dalmasca. It's got a nice ring to it. Stay out of trouble.
An airship. I don't know. Maybe, but not through Magello. Time to pay old Dallin a visit.
Good old Dallin. Now these people make an entrance later on. For those of you who don't know the story of FF12, they're important. That's why the camera looked at them. So now we can freely enter and leave Rabanastre as well as the lowtown, which of course is our objective. We still don't have much gil, all 184 of it. We will have a lot of gil not too far down the line from now. So there's no reason to go to shops or anything. Excuse me, I could go to a shop and purchase a katana. I think they have one available, but by the time we needed a katana, or a new weapon for that matter, there is a shop along the storyline route that also sells one, and we will be purchasing other weapons and armor and such from them as well, so really no reason to worry about getting a new weapon or anything like that. For now though, the lowtown Rabanastre is where all of the poor people are stuffed to hide them away from the people with money, essentially. Also this dude standing on top of a box for some reason. Don't really know why, but essentially there's no sun down here. All these people are too poor to move up. I don't think any sort of criminal stuff goes on down here, but I can't quite remember exactly, but this is more or less lowtown. We will be here a lot. For numerous reasons, one of which I won't spoil quite yet. I'm also not talking to any of these people. None of them really say much of importance. There is a shop down here. Not a very useful shop, but there is a shop nonetheless. This dude ain't sold nothing. What does he sell? Oh, he sells bombs. Sorry, what? Complaining about not selling anything down here. With the poorest of the poor, I might add. This is where all the poor people are, remember? They obviously don't have any money. He's trying to sell them bombs, man. What's wrong with you? Anyway, this is where old Dallin is. There's also an entrance there that this guy will tell us about. Back when they were moving freight and caravans from Giza Plains through Southgate, they must have needed doors this large to pass through. Indeed, it's a pity they also designed the path in front of said giant door meant for transportation to have a pillar. Do you see the problem with the pillar? Who designed this? Anyway, that is the only one that works. It goes to Southgate, which is convenient because that is where we need to go from Old Dallin's place and also come from to Old Dallin's place. Game is being nice by positioning doors in places that make sense.
If it isn't Von Ratsbane.
Also, this bunny is possessed by the devil.
How to secure something bigger and in armor by the East Gate?
What? You already heard about that?
Wise I may not be, but well informed I am.
They'll get what's coming to them someday, believe me. But that's not why I'm here.
Do tell.
I want to know how to sneak into the palace. They've got to have some great stuff in there. Thought I'd partake.
Not one to mince words, are you, boy? The Empire protects all that's hers, and that means the palace and all the treasures inside.
That's why I'm gonna do it. To take back what's ours.
So our champion of the sewers aspires to noble action. Admirable. Perhaps I can help you.
Ah, now that I think on it, there was a rumor. Yes, a secret passageway into the palace vaults, a door, and a magic stone that opens the way.
That's it. This is exactly why I came to talk to you first, Alan. So, where's this, magic stone?
Oh, I've had it for years.
How convenient.
If I can remember where I've tucked it away.
Oh, I've had it for years. Anyway. The Crescent Stone has lost its magics. With a K. Without the power of the Sunstone, it would be of little use. Giza Plains, of course, is to the south, hence the gate to the south gate, or the doorway to the south gate being right next to here. I'll be back before you know it. Anyway. That's Vaughn's voice, by the way. That's how he laughs. Hanging right here, and practically at Southgate. You're actually literally at Southgate, but you know. Let's not get too complicated for old Vaughn here. We don't want to confuse him. It's a bump on my arm that hurts like a lot, and it's very annoying because it's the arm I lean on when I'm recording. Probably there's a bump there, but anyway. This guy will tell us about this crystal. This is an orange crystal. I believe I've already mentioned these. You might notice it also has a name. These are teleport crystals. So if we have a teleport stone, and somewhere to teleport to, obviously, we can teleport from this crystal to another teleport crystal. We will be using them a lot later in the game, so. In fact, not even that far later into the game. We're not going to save now. I almost did, but we're not going to because we will cut the video relatively soon out in the Giza Plains. Also, glorious skybox ends about, 50 feet outside of the actual zone transition, but we work with what we got. It is a PS2 game. Bunnies, those are actually rabbits, not bunnies. But anyway, this is the Giza Plains. Now, the Giza Plains is the only zone in the game that has two versions. It has a version for when it is dry. As you can see, it is quite clearly dry. And it also has a version for when it is wet during the stormy season, wet season, if you want to be pedantic. But anyway, and we will see that one, I believe the next time we go through the Giza Plains, it will be the wet season. So it is a drastically different zone, and it is much more dangerous zone as well. Anyway, these are the rabbits of the Giza Giza Plains is what I meant to say. But anyway, these guys, neutral, you can fight them if you so desire. However, if you are low health, there is a chance they will cast Cure on you. So I would recommend obviously not murdering them, because, murder, death, etc., etc. There we go. We're gonna wander around, pick up some treasure, fight some of these there wolves. Now we could go through here, which is the path that the game intends you to take, but we will not be taking that path. It is also a path that is not available during the wet season. You might notice this dip here. This fills up with water and there's no means of actually getting to the town via that path. You will have to go around, which I will be going around anyway. Because I want to fight some hyenas along the way. Not too many hyenas, mostly not fighting these hyenas for the XP. I'm mostly fighting them for the LP as well as the loot that they drop. Because I want to pick up a fair chunk of loot before a certain part of the story so that we can sell it and have enough gil to get all the equipment that I'm likely going to want to purchase. Now it's possible that I won't actually need very much gil to purchase equipment. It depends on what jobs you guys pick for people and all of that jazz. In fact, this video is likely going to have a hole up. No, please fight me. Just be careful with this enemy. I don't want to pull a bunch. I also like this rabbit to heal me. Instead, I'll just die. because I'm a garbage player and I was betting on the rabbit healing me, but the rabbit does not always heal you. Sometimes it desires to watch you fall over and die, but anyway. But it was safe. This is the advantage of this version of the game, having autosaves. Autosaves are fantastic as long as the game still allows you to make hard manual saves. Because you might notice, we spawn right here. Literally the zone transition into the zone that we fell over and had a heart attack in. So we have essentially, thanks to the autosave, not lost any progress, whereas before, if you had played this game on PS2, the only way to save was via save crystals. So if you died at some point between getting to save crystals, you would have to redo any of the progress you made between said crystals. It's, you know, never particularly fun to have that situation occur. Anyway, the reason I say you have to be careful around these particular enemies is because they stomp on you, as you noticed earlier. Oh, we blocked that one. And Stomp does a fairly substantial amount of damage, as does his normal attack, so we're gonna have to heal up now. Otherwise, although we could have just hit him once and killed him, but at about 50 health, you're risking death via Stomp if you don't heal, because it's a pretty big hit. Anyway. These crystals, by the way, they're fancy reflective textures. Well, camera didn't like that. Also, the reflective textures being a bit wonky right there. Anyway, those are dark crystals. They will be explained to us later. And we will also not be going south, because we will be going south later. But anyway. You don't really need to explore the zones, such as I am doing. There's not a whole lot in here. There's these things. Urstrix. These dudes will occasionally, after a while of being spawned into the zone, cast Protect on themselves. And other things nearby. They don't always cast it. Sometimes they cast it after like freaking 40 minutes of doing nothing, but they will eventually cast it. Like, given enough time of standing around, it's highly likely they will cast it at some point. You want to heal me, or am I not low enough? By the way, look at the way they jiggle. Why do they jiggle like that? It's so weird. Why do they have butterfly-looking ears, too? You may need to be below half health for their AI to trigger healing on you. I'm not entirely sure. I don't use them very much. There is another area with bunnies in them that will heal you, but not terribly important. So here's the outpost in the Giza Plains. Some cockatrices. You can talk to the cockatrices. This one stares at me with beady eyes, and that one doesn't, you know, doesn't care. Anyway, here's the Nomad Elder. Sunstones contain the power of the sun. Wow. So, all things sunstone to Masuya. Masua? I don't know. That is a dark crystal. You'll not find them outside Giza Plain. Indeed. Despite being reflective, they in fact do not reflect any of the sunlight. It's very strange. They're also not pitch black, but details. There's a shop here. Doesn't sell anything of use, except potions if you need them, and the Cartographer's Guild. Nutsy. So the Cartographer's Guild's entire purpose is obviously cartography. So he also warns you about the rainy season. You can purchase maps from the Cartographer's Guild. It's not necessary to purchase these maps. Especially if you've played the game before, it's entirely optional to purchase these maps. But if you are a new player, I would highly recommend purchasing the maps because it shows the entire zone to you, like so. Obviously this zone will change in the rainy season. There's also some transitions to places that we don't know. I would recommend not traversing either of those zone transitions, but anyway. This is Mitsuya, the person we desire to talk to. Mazua is not Matsuya, sorry. Friggin' names are hard. It is a sunstone you seek. Would you hear my offer? Now I want you to take note. They they make and sell sunstones to survive out here. When you finish her task here that she gives you a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure she gives you gil, and she gives you a sunstone instead of just giving you a sunstone. It's basically costing them a huge amount of gil, and possibly, you know, the whole reason they survive is to make sunstones so they can live. It's possibly costing them a bit too much, all things considered. So she tells you to speak to some of the kids, which, when we're done being interrupted, I will show you where those kids are, assuming they haven't moved.
Penelo? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same, though the answer is pretty clear. No good.
What? I'm being good.
Is that right? So then you wouldn't mind if I, say, tagged along, would you?
Huh?
Oh, don't worry. Miguelo's busy with preparations for the fete up at the palace. Why, I'm free for the whole day. Well, let's get going.
So Penelo will join our party. The kids have moved, but it's that one right there and that one right there, I believe, that you have to talk to. If you talk to them before Masuya, they are both stood right next to each other, right about here, I believe, is where they stand. And they will essentially tell you that something happened that they won't tell you about specifically, but something happened with him in the south, which is down there. You don't actually need to talk to the kids to know anything about what's currently occurring, but if we try to leave, we'll get interrupted by Penelo once again. She will give us some supplies, so 3 potions, 2 Phoenix Downs, but now we have a party, hooray! So she has a basic AI set up. She has basic gambits that we can turn off, as she says here. I would recommend not turning off her gambits, but she also mentions using our own gambits, but Vaughn here doesn't have any gambits, and we cannot give him any gambits. We can turn on the gambits, but they don't do anything because he doesn't have any. So she's going to remind us to go to the south, and I'm going to ignore her advice and walk backwards. So if we open the menu, which is this button, you might notice there's no gambit thing here. We can't see or change anyone's gambits, we can only turn them on or off. And they're fairly basic gambits right now, but I don't mean to do that quite yet. We need to pick Penelo's job, so I'm gonna see if we can do like some sort of poll with the card system on YouTube. I can't remember if that's how that works or not, but if we can, it'll be a card on the video, probably somewhere on the top right if I have any control over it. Otherwise, check the description. I will leave a comment saying which of the 2 you need to do anyway, so you can just look for my comment. I'll stick it at the top. It's very fancy. Anyway, we gotta pick a job for Penelo. It's up to you guys. Same choices as before. Probably don't want to go the interesting strategy of a full samurai party, but you know, it's up to you guys, I guess. It is a strategy that can work, by the way. Full samurai party doing sight unseen. Anyway, same choices as before. Let you know via comment how we're going to set this up. And unfortunately, that means I can't play anymore until you guys pick a job for Penelo. So that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.